kick it off. You just let me know.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. We know a few people are still trickling in, but for the sake of time, we want to give our speaker and everyone the time in the workshop that we allocated. So it's another distinguished pleasure to welcome Mr. John Riordan to our chapter stage virtually for the first time. He's actually working from Uganda today, as he's the co-founder and director of the Cornerstone Leadership Academy there. So he'll be talking about that. But we're always so appreciative of the generosity that our speakers have to give their time. They're not being compensated. But asking for somebody to give 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock in the morning versus 9 o'clock at night when uh, you're all the way across the country, the world is even more. So we thank you. Uh,
You're welcome.
uh, John is leverages master leadership and organizational development skills, and has talked to a variety of organizations. I don't know if there's that many people on the speaking circuit that believe in giving back as much as he does. He's also an instructor in the Excellence in Government Fellows Program for anyone who's taken that in the federal government, as well as a certified virtual instructor. So we're looking forward to this workshop going off without a hitch, as he's a CVT.
That's right.
So welcome, John, and I'll take down the screen
Thanks,
share.
Matt.
Yep.
All right, great. Thanks. Yeah, it's great to be here, as we say now. Welcome to the new world. I was telling Matt earlier, I'm working in Uganda for about a month, 5 weeks. And 5 years ago, the last time I was here, it was hard to find internet. You had to go to an upscale hotel and, look around and find it. And even then it was spotty at best. And now, post-COVID, good news, bad news, it's everywhere. They went straight to satellite. And so you can go up country with a satellite receiver and you have internet. And it's not, the highest bandwidth in the world, but it is absolutely useful. I mean, in the bush. It's wild. So yeah, a lot has changed over the years. I was first here 35 years ago and helped to start this secondary school. And so yeah, that's where I guess cut my teeth, if you will, around leadership development with young adults and students, and then came back and started in that professional realm back in DC, Washington, DC. So pleasure to be with you and to support this session. I want to make sure folks have the agenda just so you can follow along the conversation. It'd be helpful to have the agenda. I will put the workbook in the chat again. It'll take a minute to upload. Want to make sure you have the workbook, which looks like the share button is a little slow. Let's see. All right, there you go. So this is the cover page, maximize your individual development plan. It should be a fillable PDF. Again, you can let us know. We can send this out later and get the direct link, but if not, you can follow along. I'll mention now, this is a 30-minute online course that goes with this. If you want to go back through it after this session, just to sort of review and go deeper. And then it's a free, we call it a mini course. And so I'll give you that link and you can use that, share it with colleagues, friends, etc. So point being, this is what we are drawing from. And so if you can follow along on that, that'd be great. We want to make sure there are hot links in that workbook that we'll be referencing. I'll pull those up on the screen as well. So you can let us know if you can get to them in the chat and that kind of thing. Ultimately, we will distribute the workbook afterwards as well. Matt, follow up with me so that we make sure everybody gets the hot links in a sort of live version of the workbook, if you will. I like to do something called the heads up technique. So what I like to do is I don't like to cold call people, but I look down the participant list and pick some folks, and I would say, Alyssa, are you on? And if so, can I give you a heads up and come back to you in just a moment? and hear your thought on this topic, right? So I'll
Sure.
give you a heads up and then ask if you're there. And if you are, I'll come back to you, okay? So I'll start with Alyssa and Amelia. Amelia, are you on? And if you are, can I come back to you in just a minute?
Sounds good.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'll give you the topic here as we get started. So that's called the heads up technique. By the way, I would emphasize in virtual meetings, it really works well because rather than, so does anyone have something to share? And then it's a little awkward. So it's a good way to kind of engage without putting people on the spot. Cameras on if you can, if you're comfortable with that, especially we're going to be in the breakout sessions, and that's super helpful just by way of meeting colleagues. We can use the chat function for comments, discussion. I really love to have folks jump in on the chat. Just use the chat as a sidebar. It's a way of engaging. So please feel free for any purpose. If you have a question, please use the hand raise. And then Matt, if you notice that somebody has that, because oftentimes I'll overlook that in the midst of the conversation. So if you see that someone has their hand raised, let me know and we'll jump in with some questions. We have a lot to cover, but we should be able to touch on some questions along the way. And other than that, I think we're good to go. So let's start with this concept of the individual development plan. They're called a lot of different things in a lot of different organizations. And so you can put in the chat function, what does your organization call it? If your organization has a really what you would consider to be a useful format, I think that's really critical. A lot of organizations I've worked with and a lot of staff members in those organizations would say, I just find it convoluted or I find it oversimplified or whatever, not useful. So if you have a form for a development plan, whatever you might call it, that you find useful and you can share that, that's a great thing to put in the chat. And throughout the meeting, any resources, input, best practices, etc. This is a very simplified approach to an IDP. Okay, so I'll say that right up front. This is not a in-depth, detailed, right? There are much more thorough formats that can be really useful if that's helpful to you. This is a very simple, pretty much step-by-step approach, okay? Which starts at the top and works our way down. So let me just screen share the framework. Again, it's in the workbook on page 2 are the objectives and the framework for the conversation. It's a very simple logic model, starting with big picture vision, an inspiring picture of the ideal future for your career, and working your way back from long-term objectives to midterm goals to near-term action, right? What steps am I going to take? So over the course of the conversation, we're just touching the tip of the iceberg, but the point is to help you begin developing your vision and long-term career objectives. There's a great quote. Someone could put in the chat where this quote comes from. If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. And as a coach, I cannot tell you how many times I have shared that quote with myself too. My career, I got this job and then this other opportunity opened up. And then somebody asked me if I wanted to take this position and then that opened up. And, we just wander our way through a career. And I would say, hey, if it's working for you and you're in the ideal role that you dreamed of, good for you, right? That's awesome. And it might pay to put some intentionality to it. So there's a bit of both. Positions do open up, opportunities do pop out of the blue, right? Absolutely. Another quote I really love is, luck is when hard work meets opportunity. Luck is when hard work meets opportunity. And so if you're busting your butt in your role and you're performing, outstandingly and you're demonstrating your capability, say the likelihood of someone saying, hey, Francie, what would you think about taking this position over here? Or we could really use you over there, right? I'd say those odds go up, with pronouncement, as opposed to if I'm just kind of, unhappy and not in a good place. So this idea of essentially the IDP is your strategic plan for your career. Just to put it simply, it's having a thoughtful strategy in mind. And then, yes, life happens, right? You follow along and opportunities come and, things pop up by surprise, but it gives you a sense of direction, especially when it comes to those long-term pieces, the vision and long-term objectives. If you don't have those in mind, then your career can just kind of take its own path, which with whatever opportunity presents itself, or perhaps worse, whatever opportunities don't, meaning you end up feeling stuck in a role and you've been there for a long time and it's comfortable and, well, I don't know what else is out there. And so I kind of keep going and I'm good at what I do. And, next thing you know, you wake up and 10 years have gone by. It's like, hey, do you have a timeline? Do you have objectives? Is there something you're working towards? So we're going to start with the conversation around vision. And this is an all play. So I want everybody to jump into the chat, and then I'm going to come back to Alyssa and Amelia. The concept of vision, again, as a coach, I find this gets overblown so significantly time and time and time again. We think of visionaries who are these amazing people who think of brilliant things and they're right. They think huge, globe, world-changing concepts. Yes, there are visionaries. All of us have the capacity for vision. All of us have the capacity for vision. A synonym for vision, in many ways, is imagination. Imagination. All of us have an imagination. So here's what I want you to do. In the chat, I want you to imagine an upcoming event that you are excited about. And this could be a vacation. This could be a celebration. It could be a wedding, an anniversary, a party, this weekend. It could be whatever, right? Whatever comes to mind. Happy hour tonight after, like whatever comes to mind is something you are looking forward to that hasn't happened yet. All right. So markets that go, put them in the chat. And I want you to describe your thoughts about that and what it will look like. What you're looking forward to about that, right? What are you imagining? So Mary Patrick is going to go on vacation. Like, tell us about it. Why is this exciting? What are you imagining, right? So be specific. Yep. Amelia, lots of time on the beach, right? Reading books, time with that, like that. Yeah. Get down to the specifics. I want you to use your imagination and then tell us what's in your imagination. So let's see, for me, we have a get together this weekend with some friends of ours who were here in Uganda back in 1990 when we arrived. So 35, 36 years ago. Haven't seen them in a number of years, but to get together and, go back in time for 35 years and be with their kids who were then little kids and now adults with their own children, right? That reunion, it just, we're going to get together. We're going to share stories. We're going to go back and look at pictures and laugh. And I mean, it's just crazy how much has transpired in 35 years. So that's what I'm imagining is going to take place. All right. So look at this, right? Francie, a birthday dinner with dancing and, right? Margaret dropping off, they're coming in fast. Margaret is dropping off his son at college. Wow. Yeah. Right. It'll be what? Bible for a kitchen or something. Yeah. So, right. Margaret's imagining dropping her son off. It's coming. And you have an imagination about what would make it a success. This is vision. You have a vision for this event. So, Alyssa, I gave you the heads up. I'm going to come back to you. What's your vision for this event? What's the event, and what do you think?
So, my company got merged with another company. We're very small. We're now part of a very big company. However, I've kept all the employees from the existing company together, and I've invited some old employees that have moved on to get together at a brewery. We're going to do some axe throwing. So I'm imagining some fun. It's IT, so the techs used to be on call. We have a pager we need to get rid of. So I imagine it's going to be target practice.
That's awesome. I love it. So Jesus Christ. Okay, I can see the axe. That's like, that is definitely going to be. So you're imagining this, and it hasn't yet happened, right?
Correct.
Now, a lot of work is going to be involved in making it happen in some amount of work, scheduling, communicating, inviting everybody, promoting the idea that it's going to be fun, right? So work goes into making it engaging and making it as fun as you're imagining it. It's a vision. Now, we don't use the word vision. You wouldn't send out the invitation and say, ladies and gentlemen, I have a vision for this event coming up. people would, that doesn't play in our culture. But you'd say, hey, we are going to have a we're going to do this, we're going to do that, it's going to be great, right? You're communicating a vision for this event. Does that make sense? We do it all the time. We imagine a future all the time. Sometimes we communicate about that future. Sometimes we don't. And so in this case, do you have an imagination for your career? Have you thought about a future? Have you dreamed about a future that you would love to see? We don't know if it'll happen, and it'll take work to make it happen. But if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. All right. And Amelia, what's your event? What do you have in mind? And describe it to us.
Sure. So I'm going on a beach vacation with extended family. And this is a trip we
Nice.
do every year. It's a lot of fun. We get a big house on the beach, and everyone kind of has the same vacation style for this trip. So we all bring our books, we talk, we go on the beach, we go swimming, we cook a lot of good food, and it's just really fun and relaxing.
Great. Right. So listen to the elements of that. We're all there, we're at the beach, we're cooking, there's good food, right? You're imagining all this. Now, again, if you've done it before, then it's even more vivid. And then listen to the work that it takes to get there. You got to plan it out. What are the meals going to be? What do we need to buy? Who's going to cook? Right. So there's plenty of planning and effort that goes into making that vision become a reality. But if you don't have the vision in the first place, right, then you don't even know where to start, and you kind of just go through the motions, and you show up, and then it's like, oh, well, let's have dinner together. Oh, well, we didn't buy any food. Oh, well, we didn't plan any meals. Oh, well, we don't know who's going to cook, and we haven't even thought about it. Well, because we didn't imagine what we could do, so we haven't done the work to get there. Now, surprises happen along the way. You don't know what the weather's going to be. You adjust accordingly, right? So, of course, there's all kinds of pop-ups. But if you have the vision, you can communicate it, you can work towards it. For an IDP, for your career, you imagine the future. You share this with others who may be involved. You might decide to talk to your supervisor, you might talk to colleagues, family member, whomever might help you get there, might be involved in like dreaming about this and then supporting you to get there. Now, what is it going to take? So I would really encourage you, you're going to be in breakout groups in just a minute, if you have thought about this, great, share your thoughts, right? What are you imagining for your career? If you haven't, play with it a little bit, play with it. And here's what's interesting from my own case study. When I graduated from college, a mentor of mine sat down, Burnett Thompson, I'll never forget this. He sat me down. He said, so John, if you knew you could earn enough money to support your family. So he didn't say if you won the lottery. People say, if you won the lottery, what would you do with your career? Well, if I won the lottery, that changes everything. If you knew you could make enough money to support your family, what would you want to do, right? What would you really dream about doing? I said, I'd love to travel around the world and help organizations, teams who are doing great things, helping people, help them do it better, help them be more effective, help them be more efficient, help them be more effective at what they're doing to make the world a better place. Well, the weird thing is like I said, I headed off to Uganda. I was in Uganda for 8 years, came back, I got into leadership development. I was probably 5-6 years building a practice, then really in my own practice, specifically with the advent of virtual engagements. I suddenly realized it's like, holy smokes, I am literally interacting with clients, colleagues, organizations, teams all over the world, helping them be more effective at what they do. And it just was so vivid that it has come about. Now, with some intentionality and some not intentionality, but having had a vector to follow, I've meandered my way. It hasn't been a straight path, for sure. And who knew, like going from in-person to virtual opened up literally opened up the world. And so if you don't have a direction, your career may meander without, right, trajectory. If you have a sense of direction from vision, it can guide choices, guide what you're looking for. It guides conversations that you'd have, right? It raises the possibility of you moving in that direction. Obviously, there's no guarantees. Okay, so vision is just imagination. What are you imagining in the long term? Long-term objectives. Let me emphasize at that next step down. Don't get wrapped around the axle on this. This is not an exercise in strategic planning. It's a conversation about your career. Okay. Can you see the image here on the model? Thumbs up. Yeah. Okay, great. So long-term objectives simply takes it from a broad, inspiring, ideal future back to still broad, still high level, but more specific statements of specific achievement. So you can see the descriptions on page 2. And then if you go down, you've got the conversation about vision on page 3 and long-term objectives at the bottom of page 3. And then here's the an assessment, right? You can fill this in later on as you have time. Right? How clear are you when it comes to vision and planning for your career? I have no idea. I'm very clear. So you can fill this out later on and see where you stand. Here's the links to examples. So I don't know about you, but I find these super helpful to just help me understand. What does this look like? What does this sound like? You know, give me something to look at. So are you seeing these? There's the model. Are you seeing these examples of vision?
Yep, sure.
Great. So a compelling aspirational description, right? You know, empower marginalized individuals, contribute to my field through groundbreaking research. Yeah, it should sound right. I mean, you don't want to go on a meh vacation, do you? Raise your hand if you want to go on a meh vacation, right? Brendan is helping his daughter transition into the first year of high school, right? Do you want it to be eh? Do you want it to be like not successful? No, you want it to be great. You want it to be as smooth as possible. You want to help her make that transition really effectively, of course. So what would it take? So I don't want a meh career. I don't want a so-so career, right? What do you dream about? And there's a whole conversation here about courage to do this, about it. I find it has more to do with courage and actually saying these things out loud. So a lot of coaching conversations that I have are about helping people actually say it out loud. Like, I don't know, let's see, contribute to my field through groundbreaking research. Oh, well, I don't know that I'm ever going to do groundbreaking research. Well, what are you going to do? Ho-hum research for the rest of your career? What kind of research do you really want to do? Right? Developing cutting edge technology. Well, I don't like that. Okay, then pick a different word. But vision is not, I want to muddle my way through my area of expertise and just kind of, whatever happens, happens. Okay, if that's all you want, then that's fine. It's not up to me to judge, but vision is what's exciting to you, what's compelling to you, because that's what motivates you to do the work to get there. If you have an exciting vision for the vacation, you're going to do the work to plan it and make it happen. If you're dropping your son, Margaret's dropping your son off at college, you want that to be a great time. You want it to go well. You want to think about what could you do to make it happen in a really great way. So vision. You scroll down through there to page 4, and there's some examples of long-term objectives. It just simply takes it down one notch. Okay, and again, don't worry about splitting hairs as to, is this vision? Is this your objective? Vision is big, broad, very free, not restrictive. Objectives start to be a little more specific. I would like to drive organizational change toward more sustainable business practices. Like this, that's the area I want to focus on. I want to influence policy development. I want to become the CEO of some successful technology startup. I don't know what startup. I don't know if it's CEO or COO, right? I want to have a leading role in, like, okay, it takes it down one notch to something a little more tangible, a little more specific. All right, so you can see those examples there. What I'm going to do is have you go into breakouts for 15 minutes. You're going to just compare notes, exchange ideas, no judgment, just bounce ideas around. And see specifically, I'd love to see if you can articulate, right, courageously, right? Step out, say something about a vision for your career that maybe you've never said before out loud. Right? No judgment, right? Whatever Claire, shares is what Claire shares. It's not up to me to say, well, Claire, that's not a vision. That's what like, just ask each other and give each other permission. I don't know about you. I find this one of the most challenging steps is that, am I really going to say this out loud? I would like to support teams and leaders around the world to help them expand their capacity to do great things around the world, not just in the US, not just in the US and Uganda, like around the world, like everywhere, anywhere. And that sounds a little audacious, but that's what I want. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to achieve. Okay, so you're going to be in there for 15 minutes. Take your own notes when we come back. I'd love to see some of them in the chat. We'll get there. And I'll give some heads up to a few folks and we'll hear some examples. And Matt is going to put you into the breakouts. We'll see you back in 15 minutes after you go. I'll put the instruction in the chat as well for questions.
Yep. And then you should be able to broadcast too, John. So, and as well as join the rooms if you want to pop in.
You know what? I find it when I join in, it really interrupts people.
Okay.
So I get a report up when I think about it. I put it in, well, it's on the agenda. I put it in the chat. You could, do I have access to broadcast as well?
You should. Do you see the breakout room tab?
Yep, I do.
Okay. Then there should be a broadcast between close all rooms.
I'll tell you, man, Zoom is the best. Teams just does not give that.
Hey, Matt and John, this is Jim Steckel. Hi. On the last one where we had to go to the different rooms, my volume did not work. I could not hear, nor could they hear me. So I think I'm going to back off of going into the room because it just frustrated me a lot.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm sorry, I can't see what, tell me your name.
Let me see if I can, there, I should have video.
Is that James? Hey, James.
Yes.
Okay, you're not on a separate audio device, are you? You're only on a single device?
I am on a single device.
Okay.
Speakers in the computer, in other words.
Yeah, right. Because when I've seen that happen is if someone's on video on their computer and audio on their phone, and then their voice gets separated from their body.
Oh, I see.
Seen that happen before. But anyway, yeah. Here's the simple version. Do you go by Jim or James?
Jim. And by the way, this is an agency a PC, so they may have some restrictions on how much you can do with it.
Yep, absolutely. So Jim, you and I can, if you're up for it, we can stick right here and talk to somebody else chiming in.
This is Margaret. I'm sorry. I just want to come back. No, the information you shared flashed on the screen and then disappeared. So I just said I'd come back to you. The goal is for us to create the vision statement, not necessarily career goals, but vision statement, right?
Yes, we're at vision and long-term objectives.
Okay, thank you.
Just bouncing ideas around. Yep, it's just 15 minutes.
Okay, so hopefully I can get back to room 3. Oh, yep, I can. Okay.
Okay, great. So if there's anyone else here in the main room with us, feel free to chime in. Jim and I are going to have a conversation about vision and long-term objectives. And Matt, if you're doing okay running the traps on the breakout groups, that's great.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So Jim, you've been in your career for a little bit.
Oh yeah. The next year will be 20 years at NRC.
Nice. Wow. Thank you for your service. So what do you think of this? Where are you at with this whole conversation? Is this like check the box and you're ready for a vision about the next season, or what do you
Well,
what engages you about this?
Yeah, it took me back to when I was in college, and I thought a lot about this. I didn't have any clear guidance, and the one thing I did love was a class I took on environmental science, ecological science.
Right. Yep.
So I thought maybe there would be something there, and I went to a research lab run by the University of Pittsburgh. It's up in the northwest corner of Pennsylvania, and got exposed to some of that. And that led to a interview for a position with the pre-construction environmental site characterization work that was being done for a nuclear power plant back in the early 70s.
Right.
And that led to this, that, these, and the other, and I wound up at NRC, and I do love it. However, things are rapidly changing, and I am attempting to do as much as I can to get as much out of my work and my position before who knows what will happen.
Yeah.
And so I'm taking advantage of a lot of the Microsoft 365 applications. There are little 1-hour training sessions almost each week.
Yep.
And other type things. And I'm pretty happy with being at the NRC because no one there knows everything. There is a huge amount of information that you need to use to function on a daily basis, but you also get pulled into new reporting processes and new technologies. A lot of advanced reactors, advanced reactor fuels are coming out.
Yep.
New designs for microreactors, modular reactors, many, many different reactor designs and technologies. So it's going to be even more fascinating in the near term.
Yep.
But here I
Good
am.
for you. You sound like...
Well, I'm near the end, I think, of my... I'll hang in. I'll hang in.
You sound like a kid in a candy shop.
Oh, yes.
I mean, we're about the same age. It reminds my dad worked for IBM. He got in early on the IBM wave when they first started.
Yes.
You know, I mean, he saw Big Blue come around. He saw, I mean, you talk about the advent, right, of an entire world-changing event. Well, by the time he was, you know, late in his career, he was just getting started. Like he was just more excited about everything that kept happening. And so, you know, good for you. So whatever you want to do, like you could use the same model for the next X years. Like if you have a goal in mind, like I will be here for this many more years. Okay, great. What are you going to do with that time? And it could involve mentoring. It could involve tooling up and learning all kinds of new things, whatever you want. So vision can be for 10 years, 20 years, 5 years, or 2 years, or 1 year, you know? So just using your imagination, mapping it out and taking the steps. And then use the same model, by the way, use the same model for your post-career or your next career, as they now call it.
Oh, yes. Been giving a lot of thought to that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the same framework works, right? The same framework, right? Where do we want to be in X amount of time? Okay, so how are we going to get there? And then down to near-term action, what steps do we take to move in that direction? Okay, step 1, take a few weeks at the beach. Step 2, start to, you know, make the plan to get where we want to be.
Yeah, you broke up a little bit. You did say go to the beach. Is that it?
I said, that's step one, right? That's the first thing I want to do.
Yeah. Well, I'm still there.
Yeah, that's right. There you go. Yeah. And then that involves others. It involves family. It involves, how do we want to engage other people in this, and how do we make this happen?
Yes. And my wife and I have about 100 projects that are backlogged. We want to.
Well, and therein lies decisions. What's our priority? Because we can get, of course, we all do this. We can get caught up in the near term, fixing this, working on this, whatever. And then meanwhile, long-term things kind of become eclipsed because we're focusing, we're focusing here. If we have that long-term thing, and it's like, hey, yes, some of these, but let's make sure we're working towards this as well. That's cool.
So,
good for you, Jim.
Yeah, have a daughter that's planning to get married in a year, and another daughter who started her own horse training business.
Oh, nice.
She's been working with horses for about the last 15 years, and she's quite good at it.
Yeah.
So
there's a career based on her passion.
Yep.
Awesome. It's great. It's great. Yeah. No, I mean, again, that some people find their way, right? They it sounds like she had this passion, followed this passion, is pursuing it, and turning her passion into a career. A lot of times, many people, and I coach folks all the time who have a passion, but it's not necessarily going to give them the career that they need in terms of income and
I'm sorry, your frame has frozen.
Professionalism, whatever. So
there we go.
I wonder if I should go off.
You're back.
Let me see if I go off camera, is my voice coming through clearly?
Yeah, yes. I think it was just an isolated incident. So,
okay.
Yeah, it may be because of the breakout rooms being too. So yeah,
that's interesting. Oh, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, if my signal is at all dicey, just let me know.
Okay.
Then I can go off camera.
Do you want me to give a warning in broadcast, or do you want to give one? Or?
Yeah. No, please go ahead. Did you start a timer? Should have asked before we started.
Yeah, it's been about 10, 13 minutes so far. So.
Okay, so give them the 5-minute warning.
Okay.
Or 6-minute warning. Okay, great. Give me the heads up when you're down to a minute left or something. I think Zoom gives you 1 minute when they're.
Yeah, when I click on close all rooms, then it'll.
Great. Okay, great. Is there anybody else? All right, welcome back. So again, very much a tip of the iceberg conversation. I hope it should be self-evident. This is not something you just whip up a strategic plan for your career. so please go back, think about it, take a little time, flesh these out at each step. The intent in this module, if you will, is just to get you thinking, and then go back, flesh it out, right? Draw up some ideas, play with it a little bit, see what comes to mind. Take your time, in one sense, right, to really invest in it. At the same time, don't take forever. It's not set in stone. You update it, revise it, you come back, you think, things have changed, a new opportunity opens up, etc. So a strategic plan isn't set in stone. Your strategic plan for your career isn't set in stone. All right, so let's hear some examples. I'm going to come back to Clara in just a second and David Campbell in just a second. Jump in with what comes to mind in terms of vision for you, and how about this distinction between vision and objectives? Was that helpful? Any question about that, et cetera? Clara?
Okay, should I go for the whole group? I mean, because we kind of talked the whole group. Yeah.
For yourself, and what did you hear from your colleagues? Sure.
I think we have some future authors and some CEOs and some coaches. So so we have some people with some really good visions. And so I was looking at coaching as a possibility of something to do.
Yeah.
As my vision. And
so let me interrupt you, Clara. First of all, I got to tell you, I'm not supposed to have favorites, but my grandmother's name is Clara. So,
Okay.
so you're already
Okay.
no offense to anyone else, but Clara's already at the top.
Okay.
That was my grandmother's name.
Uh-huh.
So do you want to be a mediocre coach?
No. I want to be I want to be an excellent coach. I want to be the best. Yes.
Yeah.
So, and that's good. Putting
Like,
that word in front of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Verb. Yeah. Adjective of kind of coach.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk about different kinds of motivators later. Like for some people, the competitive edge is a real motivator. I want to be the world's best coach, like toe to toe. I want to, like, I don't know if any of you have done the Strengths Finder assessment. One of the Clifton Strengths, I think it's called now. One of the strengths on that list is competition. Some people are competitive, and that's what like gets their battery charged. Absolutely. I want to be the best coach, toe to toe with anyone. Okay, great. Go for it. For somebody else, it's I want to be a coach that has an impact. For me, it's all about like impacting people's lives in significant ways. You know, I don't want to be a ho-hum coach. I want to be a impactful, et cetera. So those adjectives are really important. Which adjectives really motivate you and inspire you? Right?
Well, mostly impact. You're right. I'd like to be more impactful than competitive. I'm not competitive like that. So I would be more impactful and making sure that I'm meeting their needs, as a coach.
Awesome. Great. Thanks, Clara. Okay. Let me know what I can do to help.
All right. Thank you.
And I mean that seriously. That's what I do for a living. So I love at this point in my career, I am handing it over. So I'd love to pass on any wisdom or experience I can. David Campbell, how about you? Thanks, Clara.
Thanks.
How about you, David?
Yeah, so we were in the same group. So the same group of folks. But my vision, I guess, as I'm looking at it, is to move from managing programs to providing strategic direction to organizations. And not so much owning the business mission, but consulting to the business, being able to kind of spread out whatever I can contribute across different organizations and the teams that are with them. And I guess from a objectives perspective, looking at the objectives is kind of like early steps, right? Prioritize some time to start building the network, start building the public capabilities. Getting the word out there, things like that.
Yeah. What happens in a coaching conversation is you can work this model from either end. So we're starting from vision and working our way down to action. What actions are going to take you in that direction? If you flip it around, you say, okay, well, what am I doing now that I know I'm excited about? Right. So I am supporting leaders in the U.S. in public service. I'm supporting leaders in the U.S. in private sector, and in the developing world. Well, okay, so those are near-term actions. What are they taking me towards that I'm excited about? And that's where I think I want to work with people all over the world. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm already doing these steps, but where is it taking me? Where do I want it to take me? Is a way to think of it. Also, are there any steps I'm taking that I really excited about? Be really watch out for this. The job that's there for now. Well, this opportunity presented itself, and then 10 years from now, I'm still doing the same thing, and I'm not that excited about it. So if there's something you're doing for any reason that you're not thrilled about or not excited, there are plenty of engagements I've had with clients over the years that I wasn't thrilled about. They weren't in my, motivator wheelhouse. And hey, I had to do them for a period of time, but I kept working my way back towards that true north, if you will. The vision is the true north.
I like
thanks,
that
David. So you're working your way towards, right? And you're currently doing this, but in the future you want to see yourself doing that. Yeah. Say more about that.
I was just gonna say I liken what you're describing to Warren Buffett's approach of list the top 30
Say more
things.
about Warren Buffett's.
and then delete the bottom 25. Only keep the top 5 priorities.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. What am I doing that I don't want to keep doing? I don't want to be doing this in 10 years. Some things you got to do. And maybe that's fine for now, but I want to keep working my way back. One of the hard things about career is it's not a straight line, 1 + 1 = 2 equation. That's not how it works. And that can be discouraging, and you think, oh, forget it. I'll just take whatever comes. Well, I hear you. But again, better to have a trajectory. It's not going to happen probably, right, in some mathematical formula. In 3 years, have line somewhere between 2 years and 5 years, having spoken to mentors and having gotten input. 2 to 5 years, that should put me in a position. Is my video freezing? Because I just I took myself off camera to see if my audio will be better.
Both have been freezing. I'm not sure, right?
Yeah, that sounds better, John, if we want to do that at least for a little bit. So. Okay, I think he may have reconnected just to see if that improved it. So we appreciate your patience, and hopefully we'll be back on in a second.
Hey, everybody. Am I back?
Yep, sure are, sir. Sound great.
Hello, hello, hello. Hey, sorry about that signal. All right. So let's go to the next segment. Apologies for the interruption. The next segment is, well, first let's do this. Let's do an all play in the chat. All play. Put one statement of vision for your career. One statement of vision. Renee, that Aurora background is going to distract me to no end. That is so cool. I don't know where you got the moving Aurora, but it's driving me nuts. I've had the chance to see that once in a long.
I'll change it to something more stable.
Awesome. So that's so, and it looks a lot like what we got to see. Okay, back to our regularly scheduled program. One statement of vision in the chat function, and look at what others have, and right, be audacious. You know, there's no, like, you're not being graded on this, and nobody here is going to judge you. So, a statement, right? I'm going to put support leaders and teams around the world. Right? What's the audacious aspect of this? What's the part of it that makes you, ooh, am I really going to say this? You know?
It's too big of a reach.
Yeah. You get that kind of feeling like, oh, that sounds crazy. Oh, I don't know. You know, that just sounds too wild. It's like, well, look, there's no guarantees it's going to happen. But if you don't put it out there, then the odds of happening are greatly reduced. Right? Yeah. And again, in vision, at the level of vision, it's not specifically defined. You know, Jolene, work and collaborate with diverse teams. And what does that mean to you? And you could elaborate on that. To complete meaningful projects. Great. Elaborate on what's meaningful to you. And that's where you get down to that next level of objectives to say, well, here's what meaningful means to me. I want to work with this kind of variety of teams. That's what diversity means. And these kinds of projects are really meaningful to me. And this is what I want to go for, right? Yeah. Emeve, I don't know if people understand there's no limit to their dreams. Cool. Help what kinds of people? All people, any people, or certain types of people, certain categories of people, right? People around the world, people in these kinds of communities, whatever. So you can flesh these out. Love it. Love it. Great. And it's how many, and it's how big, and it's how impactful, and whatever adjectives, right, motivate you. Okay. Let's, again, very much tip of the iceberg. So thanks. Those are really cool to read. And I'm not kidding. If anybody is up for some follow-up, just reach out to me. I love supporting people to do great. Send me a note afterwards. Let's move to midterm goals and then near-term actions, okay? So this is just taking it the next step. So you go from the broad and high level and you keep working your way down. Let me see if I can screen share. All right, so we've got long-term objectives. And here on page 5 of that handout, essentially, are midterm goals. So it's taking it another notch down. Now, are you seeing that on the screen? Give me a thumbs up. You seeing the examples on the screen? Yep. Okay, great. So I like the SMART acronym. I could care less. There's plenty of ways to write goals. It's definitely not perfect. It's nice. It's simple. It's just easy to remember and easy to use. And then you can develop them in whatever way is most effective for you. But point being, this is another notch down, more specific from long-term objectives to, okay, midterm goals. Like these are tangible, specific, measurable, achievable, right? These are things and they're relevant to my career. So they have a deadline. These have a timeline. If you notice, the first two didn't. This is where timelines start to show up, right? So I want to influence company policies, right, towards more sustainable practices, because sustainability is something I am passionate about. And my vision for my career involves sustainability. So I want to influence company policies in the next 2 years, period, 24 months, right? I want to lead a project XYZ within the next 2 years, within the next 12 months. So this is not 10 years necessarily, unless you work at NASA or, but like these are measurable, tangible, that they're much more concrete and specific than where we've been thus far. Right? And you can scroll down through here. Now, there's different kinds of goals. So let me give a heads up to a few folks. I'll give a heads up to Catherine and Francie. And I'll come back to you in just a minute to ask you what kinds of goals, as you look through these, inspire you. Okay, so impact goals. I want to have an impact. And what does that look like? Position goals. I want to achieve a certain position in my career, right? I want to get to this point. I want to, right, take these steps. I want to achieve something. Education and training. I want to complete an advanced degree. I want to gain a professional certification. I want to, attend these specific things, right? What does that look like and what excites you? Financial goals. Just a reality. I don't know about you, but right, I want to achieve certain financial goals, right? So that within how much time and what would that take? And what's I like to say stretch goals, right? So it's not just simple, but it's not impossible. Skills and abilities, right? Some skill I want to develop, some ability that I don't have, something I want to strengthen, something I want to, add to my toolkit, whatever. Okay, great. What are you going to specifically learn, whatever, and by when? So these have specific, right? The SMART acronym back at the top, specific, measurable, aligned with your career, realistic, stretch goals, realistic yet challenging, and time bound. All right, Catherine, what comes to mind in terms of midterm goals for you? Any, if anything?
It's really interesting because the breakout group I was in, we were all of us in the same phase of our careers, which is pretty much at the end of them. We're either just retired or about to retire after spending 10 or 15 or more years as the subject matter experts in our fields, and trying to figure out how to pivot to continue to find meaning and purpose in the next 20 to 30 years of our lives. At this point for me, the kind of goals that really inspire me are those that are impact. I feel like I've checked all the boxes I care about in the other categories.
Yeah, great. I love it. That's great. And that inspires you, and that keeps you motivated, and that keeps you going. Now, that could be impact in the work you're doing. It could be impact as a mentor. It could be impact, on those who are coming after you and all that kind of stuff. And oh, by the way, the conversation that Jim and I had during the breakout, he was still in the main room with the teacher. He was stuck with me. We talked about use the same model for the next season of your life. You might have a second career coming up. Okay, what do you want to do? What's your vision for that second career, and where do you want to go, and what do you want to do? Don't just slip into it, right? I had a client who came out of the Coast Guard. He was a senior captain, was finishing his career, and it was like, well, the next step is to become to get a job with a Beltway Bandit, and become an analyst and make a lot of money. And he said, it just doesn't excite me. Gosh, I don't want to spend another 20 years doing something like I want to be. And guess what? He moved into coaching and he is like complete career change because he realized what he was passionate about.
Yeah.
So he didn't take the logical step. He took an exciting step. Go ahead, Kevin.
I was going to say that we agreed, partially by consensus and whatnot, that it is as important to plan for retirement, and not just the financial planning. Oh, do I have enough money to retire? But what am I going to do with my time? What does that look like? What does Wednesday look like when I'm retired?
Yeah, absolutely. And, and hopefully it is designed for rejuvenation and for sustainment and all that. And look, if you want to go, play cards until you keel over, good for you. But good for you. Then that's your vision and make it happen. But if you want to do something with this life that you still have, to invest in others, invest in the world, continue to invest in having an impact in your career field or some other kind of impact, some other kind of investment that you want to make or development that you want to have. Great. People take on entirely new fields, entirely new skills. Good for you. It's the same model. What's your vision for it? What your long-term and what steps are you going to take to make it happen? Thanks, Catherine. And let's see, Francie, how about you? Do you go by Francie? Yeah. Okay. Oh, Francie, you're on mute.
Sorry about that.
There you go.
Yes, Francie.
No problem. Okay, great.
Well, for midterm, I think I really would like to move out of the department that I've been in and the functions that I've had in the last 13, 14 years with my organization. So I do have some current things I'm doing. I've hit some stagnancy. So I've joined a women's leadership program that should be ending in December.
Awesome.
And I actually had never gotten my bachelor's, so I'm about to finish that in December. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to shift into a new department after that. But I don't have a plan for that yet. But I just know I needed to have some things of substance on my resume to be able to make that shift. So
that's awesome. So again, you're taking it, you're flipping it and saying, okay, these are steps I know I want to take. You're kind of coming at it from, these are goals. Like you just said, you just articulated the specific goal. I want to achieve this degree by this time. And I know that's taking me in the right direction. And so then play with those longer term aspects. If you don't have concrete answers for the long term, that's fine. But at least knowing that along the way, you'll start to think about it and figure it out. As opposed to, well, I'll just take whatever job comes up and I'll just grab the first thing I see. You hear the difference?
Right. Yes, for sure. Absolutely.
Awesome. All right, great. Thanks, Nancy.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So now again, just touching on this, let's have everybody, let's do an all play in the chat. Play with the SMART acronym. Try to again, this is just practice, so you're not beholden to this. But play with the SMART acronym and use the SMART acronym to develop a statement, a goal statement for some aspect, something you know, some aspect of your career, something you're working on, something you want to be working on if you're not already. So for me, I'm going to say establish country directors in at least 5 different countries within the next 12 months. So what has emerged for me during this time in Uganda is I could have a country director here in Uganda who helps reach out to NGOs, nonprofits. He knows the lay of the land here. I'm not here, so I can't do too much on the ground. He knows all these different folks. I bring him on as a country director. Now he can reach out to all kinds of people that I would never even know existed, and he can help build this network for leadership development and professional development. Some of it'll be pro bono, some of it'll be paid, but what I want to see is people having the tools, right, to go have that impact. So my SMART goal is to establish country directors in at least 5 different countries within the next 12 months. It might be 11 months, might be 14 months, but the point is it gives me something specific that I'm going to work towards. All right, let's see what you got. Put something in the chat, draft a SMART goal statement. And Catherine, I love that. Absolutely. Yeah, it doesn't, right. Go for it. Go for it. I mean, yeah, man, the world is your oyster. What chili cook-off champ. I love it. You got it. Absolutely. And the same model applies to things outside your work life, right? It might be like a pastime or a community involvement, et cetera. It's the same model from long-term vision down to specific steps. We used this I was involved with the Air Force Auxiliary, the Civil Air Patrol, and there was a ton of activity, but no specific directions. Okay, let's use what's our vision for this squadron. Where do we want to be by what time? What steps are we going to take? Some activity. Great. All right, so Janet, I'm going to challenge you to say, secure a health position working with psychological monitoring within the next 6 months, right? So searching for it is the near-term action. That's what we're going to be talking about in just a second. Securing it. Now, we don't know if it's going to take 6 months. It might happen in 3 months, or it might take 9 months or 12 months. But the point is, when you put that stake in the ground, say, I am going to secure that position in 6 months. Okay, great. Get moving, right? Get started. What's it going to take? Shadow a consultant over the next year. Great. And then again, Crystal will get back to specifics and how, okay, which consultant? Have you made a phone call? What does it start with? An email. Increase my professional social media post to a bi-weekly. Great, right? So Marguerite is going to be increasing professional media posts to a bi-weekly frequency starting today, starting tomorrow, whatever. Great. So we're going to go from there to there, and that's the commitment. All right, cool. So next step down is near-term action. And so you can see how this plays out, right? You can see how this plays out. And so let me look, I'm looking at the chat. So William Ziegler, I don't know if you go by William or Bill. Can I ask you for a comment on this? Is it William or Bill?
I go by Bill.
Bill. So Bill, reduce my patented technologies to practice and market them so I can retire in the next 3 years. Great. That's the goal. That's a SMART goal. Now, we come down to the next level. What steps does it take to make it happen? Are you already doing it, Bill? Are you already like in action on this?
Yes.
Great. So it might be, is there anything more I need to do? Is there anything that's taking me in the wrong direction that I want to stop doing? But the near-term action.
I just need to raise some money so I can do this. I have everything.
Yeah. Okay,
I need,
great.
all the tools I need. I just need money to hire a software people and
yeah,
respin it.
And okay, great. So that's another near-term goal, right? Or sorry, midterm goal is I want to raise X dollars for this purpose in 6 months, in 12 months, in whatever. Remember, the goal gives you what you want to achieve. You may not know how I'm going to get there, right? But it pushes you to ask, how am I going to raise this much money in this much time? Now, I'm not talking about randomly just making something up. If Bill, I don't know. If you said to me, my goal is to raise $1 million in the next 3 months, I'd be like, wow, okay, that sounds pretty audacious. Like, is that realistic or is that insane? And he says, well, I know some people with deep pockets. Okay, great. Make some phone calls, man. Go for it. Raise $1 million. But if you told me I don't have 2 dimes to rub together, I'd say, okay, well, maybe how about like $10,000 in 6 months? Is that more still a stretch goal? You get the point?
Yeah.
Great. So don't do these steps in isolation. Talk to mentors, talk to peers, talk to, it might be family members, whoever it is, and say, does this sound reasonable yet challenging? Right? If Bill told me I'm going to raise $10, right, in the next 12 months, I said, Bill, that doesn't sound like much of a stretch goal. I mean, I can give you $10 today, right? So like, that's not a stretch goal. Like, what's going to challenge you? Okay. Near-term steps. Wendy Fanisel, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Do you mind if I ask you a couple questions about this?
No.
Okay. All right, great. So heads up to Wendy. So complete a publication within the next year. Okay, great. So what steps, right? What's on the action list for that? What would it take? Are you already working on it, or this is a new initiative? What would you say?
It's kind of a new initiative. I have to complete. Okay. I know what I have to do. I have to complete the research and then do the writing. Submit it for publication. Yeah.
Great. So breaking that statement, breaking that statement down into those near-term actions. So again, you can scroll down and see on page 7, there's examples of near-term actions. Let's see. There we go. Right? Identify a career coach, secure a mentor, do a 360 feedback. Like, these are small steps, right? But they're steps I can take now. Like, literally, I need to do this today or tomorrow or within a week. Like, this is not someday I'll do this. These are steps I can take right now that'll move me in the right direction. So you want to, what did we say? Was it the publication? We want to complete a publication within the next year. Okay. I need to, step 1, I got to call some folks. Step 2, I need to send an email to somebody. Step 3, I need to go on LinkedIn and ask if anybody knows somebody who. And then step 4 is I need to like start breaking down the draft into measurable like accomplishments within a month and 3 months and 6 months, and how far am I going to get, right? So it basically becomes a project plan, right, on achieving the goals. Does that make sense, Wendy? Obviously I'm being very short shrifted, but does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
So you're basically developing a project plan, and this goes for all of us. What does it take to get me moving? What does it take to get me into action? For some of us, that's as simple as writing down the goal, writing down the steps, putting it on my calendar. Boom, you'll do it. Good for you. That's not me. I do not. It takes me some effort to get into action. Always has. For me, a big deal to get me into action is to involve somebody. So have a think about that. I tell somebody, I say, hey, Francie, would you support me in this? check. Would you work with me? She's doing something similar. Great. We're gonna. Okay, good. That's super helpful. People making an announcement. They call it burn the ships. So you can't go back. You make a public statement. You tell somebody significant. You do. And now I got to do it. Right. So there's different things you can do to get yourself to move into action. A lot of us are pretty good at procrastinating. After all, this is my career. Nobody else cares if I do it or don't. So what's it going to take to get you into action? Think about that, and have specific ideas, because we can come up with all kinds of lists of what I should do. Question is, am I actually going to do it? Right? That's the obvious question. All right, we're going to go into breakouts again. I think you're going to be in the same formation, so you've already met one another. And what I want you to discuss is this, just ideas, right, around midterm goals and near-term actions. I'll put it in the chat. It's on the agenda. What midterm goals would take me toward my vision and long-term objectives. So how might I start to think of it in terms of SMART goals? These are a year, 2 years, not 10 years, but like near midterm, and then immediate near-term actions. All right. And then the corollary question is, what's it going to take to get me into action? Partnering with somebody, making a commitment to somebody, making a public announcement about this, right? What's it going to take to actually get you into action? Okay. 15 minutes in the breakout rooms. Compare notes, see what ideas you can exchange with each other. What do your goals sound like, right? Go around the group, see what folks have in terms of ideas, and see what you can learn from each other. I think my signal is back just in time for the breakouts. Signal seems to be going up and down this evening. Oh, 15 minutes.
It was better after that last break.
There's Jim again. Hey, Jim. Give you a heads up as well.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Can I give you a heads up, Brendan, and come back to you in just a minute?
Sure.
All right, cool. We'll talk about a report out from your conversation around.
That was good.
Goals and action plans. All right. I think, is everybody, yeah, everybody's back. Welcome back. Let's do a little check on what has come up and come out of the conversation in the breakout. So goals and action plans. Henry, let's check in with you. And then Brendan, heads up, I'll come to you next. Midterm goals that will take you towards your vision and long-term objectives, and then near-term actions that are going to get you moving in that direction. Henry, what's your thought on that for you? Group discussion?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Henry. For me, it was really just more on really establishing relationships with people. I was mentioning in our group chats that COVID did a number on folks from a social perspective, like the art of talking to people or even just small talk. And so my short and midterm is really just being an active participant, like in these type of settings, these type of events. And then my midterm goals that will lead me to my long-term goals is really establishing deeper connections and relationships with folks, because in those circumstances, those are when I am getting privy and access to, hey, Henry, I have a issue in my organization. I know this is something you do. Can you help me out? And so that is what I'm really aiming for. Just background as just independent consultant, and so really establishing a relationship goes a long way.
Yep, great. And then do you, like, again, these are all for longer term thinking, but by longer term, I mean, think more about this, like join a specific networking group or post on social media or
it's really a combination of all the above.
In a certain, activity or whatever, like some specific steps that you can take. Yeah.
Correct. It's really a combination of all the above. Social media is just a necessary evil. Unfortunately, it's something that you just have to be a participant of. I recall a time when I left the service. No, yeah, I recall a time when I left the service, I didn't have a LinkedIn profile. And so when I was looking for employment, they're like, "Oh, you don't have a LinkedIn?" And so it's the same now with social media. Like people want to know how many followers,
That's right.
where are you, where they can vet and verify you.
Yeah.
Look at all the job applications. They ask you
Yeah,
for like
yeah,
all your socials
yeah.
now. And then really targeted groups, of course. So I'm a technologist by trade. Being part of the PMP community in Montgomery County really brings me with like-minded people because from a business perspective, that's where I will get more interactions. But
Right.
then the DC area, all the tech conferences, right? And so I get a mixture of both avenues. And I just pick the ones that
Great.
are really more
Great.
more for my taste. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Great. Again,
I think
I don't want to over easy to say, am I taking steps? Oh, can you hear me?
You're kind of breaking it in out a little bit.
I'm sorry. I apologize, you guys. I've had really good signal for, I don't know if it's a thing in the evening or what. All right. Let's do this. Let's go to the resources. Well, let's do this. Let's use the chat function. Let's use the chat function. And in the chat function, update near-term action that you're going to take. Something new. Put an action that you haven't been doing, haven't yet done, but an action you know you want to take. Mark it, set, go. To move on, right? To take action on towards the goal, towards the vision. Near-term action. Mark it, set, go. I'm going to put in reach out to candidates for country directors in the next week to 2 weeks. So, right, this is not rocket science. This is near term, immediate. I can do this now. Great. Great. Love it. Learn basic, right? SQL, 15 minutes a day. Complete AWS training this week. Rejoin LinkedIn within the, right? Love it. Love it. Yep. Engage a career coach within, right, 2 weeks or within a month or whatever. Putting deadlines on the actions as well helps to sort of prompt you to take action. I'm close to done. Love it. Great. All right, let's do this. Okay, good. I'm like what I'm seeing in the chat. I want to open it up for questions and see what questions folks have. I think I'll be able to hear you. I hope you'll be able to hear me if I respond. And or we can do, a chat response as well and get input from everybody in terms of sharing resources and all this kind of stuff. So questions for me and or anybody else in the group with regard to the material. I will give you, if you don't already have the link for my website and for this course specifically, I'll put it in the chat. There's the website. Any questions? Go ahead and jump in with those. To answer me if you can hear me. Link for this mini course. So it's a 30-minute mini module on the IDP, goes through what we just did, but gives a little more color commentary, a little more discussion about it, and highlighting the examples. Brendan, I'm going to come back to you if you can hear me. What was your tip?
All right, lost this last half of your question there. What was what? Or maybe put the question in the chat.
Well, your take on near-term action. Great.
One of the common threads in our breakout session was for near-term actions, kind of the acquisition of additional knowledge, whether it was kind of market sector knowledge or training or networking sessions or finding a mentor or someone to collaborate with. That was one of the themes there is acquisition of more information to enable moving to kind of those next steps and into more from medium term to long term objectives, and everybody had pretty clear ideas about that, and they were measurable and time constrained. Yeah, that was a common thread among our group.
Cool, great. And let me ask you this, Brendan, and then I'll ask everybody else in the chat. What helps you take action? So when you know you want to do something, what helps get you into action to actually take the action?
Well, certainly being responsible for somebody other than just yourself, feeling like you have someone to be accountable to.
Yep. Let's see in the chat. Yep. Accountability, telling someone I'm going to do it, especially depending on who that is. If I tell my boss I'm going to do it, or a client, or my wife, scheduling it. Yeah. There's a great tool called the 4 Tendencies. I'll put it in the chat by Gretchen Rubin. I don't know if anyone's heard of that. 4 Tendencies. Some of us are motivated simply by the internal commitment. I tell myself I'm going to do it, I'll do it. Others need external accountability, action, different strategies. So if look at that 4 Tendencies, just Google that and you'll get the website and assessment. It's great material. Agree with having someone to be accountable to, writing it down on my daily list. Great. All kinds of different techniques that she shares about getting into action. In the back of the workbook, I think you saw there are resources and materials. Let me screen share those. And then if there's any questions, I want to jump in on that. Let's see. Am I sharing the right thing? Let me get this share on the. There's the workbook at the back of the workbook. Ideas for near-term actions. Take a look through those. Examples again, and then a whole bunch of resources on page 12. Let's see, and then some additional courses that are related. Strengthening alignment has to do with aligning your values and the work that you're doing, contributing to the mission of the organization, right? Focusing on what is your contribution, what contribution do you want to have? Growth mindset is something I was just talking about with Jim during the breakout, is seeing the challenges along the way as opportunities for growth. Makes sense? All right. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to chime in and answer to the best of my ability, or ask others to chime in with ideas and resources. Matt, otherwise you may get some time back, but oh, Brenda Woods, Francis, hi, good to see you too. Good to see your name. I knew Brenda from a previous course. Matt, I'll come over to you.
Yes, sir. Can't thank you enough. I think this was a great session. We'll make sure everyone gets the artifacts as well as those that listen to this on demand. So just a virtual round of applause for John, and like giving up his evening means a lot to the chapter, and looking forward to having you in person once you get back stateside.
Yep, I'm more consistent when I'm in person or when I have a consistent connection. So sorry about the inconsistent link, but chalk it up to the first guest speaker you've ever had from Uganda, right? I'll bet you. I'm just going to go out on a limb.
21-year history. This takes the cake. So, okay.
There you go. Great.
So if everybody wants to take a 7-minute.
Great to be with everybody.
Yep.
Yeah, and let me just say, if you have a question or if there's anything I can do to support you along the way, just reach out. Happy to help. That mini course, the Maximizing Your IDP, the mini course that goes with this workbook, it's just a free 30-minute. It has short video clips and then the workbook activities. So it kind of reviews what we've just done. But if you want to go back through it or share that with anybody, I'd love for you to forward it to anyone you think could use it.
Yep, we'll get that publicized.
Great.
Okay, thanks, John. Okay.
Absolutely. Pleasure to be with you.
If everybody wants to take a 10-minute break, we'll pick back up at a little after 3 with Michael Wilson. Thank you.
Take care, everybody.